Fans are continuing to point out some issues with the Last Time Is Now tournament, so we'll see what that's about. We'll also check out what's up with the Wyatts, AJ Lee, and more. Starting things off with the Last Time Is Now tournament. This tournament is still a few weeks away from being completed, but fans are already dragging it for feeling anticlimactic, predictable, and failing to do what it was advertised to do, and that was elevate new and young talent. During John Cena's recent media appearances, he speaks a lot about the tournament and how he wants it to recreate the magic of the opportunity he got when he debuted against Kurt Angle. Just this calling and this opportunity for someone new to step up, run through the tournament, and claim that spot as his final opponent. Only issue is that everyone who remains in the tournament are mostly all veterans and made men in WWE already. You've got 40-year-old Jey Uso, 43-year-old LA Knight, and 38-year-old Gunther. Then you have the youngest participant left after that, which includes 32-year-old Solo Sikoa and 31-year-old Carmelo Hayes. So fans think it is just a little misleading to hear John Cena talk about his final match as if it's this massive opportunity for a really young star, when most of the individuals left in the tournament are just a handful of years younger than Cena himself. So that's been an element of this tournament that has been picked apart by the fans. The other big issue, of course, is the predictability. What makes tournaments fun, the main attraction about them, is it's supposed to be unpredictable. Going through each round, seeing someone catch fire during the tournament, seeing massive upsets get pulled off, those are all elements that make the tournaments exciting. But the Last Time Is Now tournament appears to have a clear winner with Gunther, and no one really has a shot. Not only is the winner of the tournament predictable, but it seems like fans have also predicted the finals matchup as well. Fans believe that WWE will make Gunther and Jey Uso the last two finalists in the Last Time Is Now tournament, meaning that Gunther versus Jey Uso will meet in the final round to decide who faces John Cena in his final match. The Gunther versus Jey Uso finals match seems like the most likely and predictable one because that was a major program in WWE throughout the year of 2025. Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble and selected to face Gunther, who he had a difficult past with. Then at WrestleMania 41, Jey Uso makes Gunther tap out to win the world title. Fast forward a few months after that, and Gunther defeats Jey Uso in a rematch to reclaim the world title. So Gunther and Jey Uso spend nearly half the year feuding with each other, plus their 2025 series with each other is tied up at 1 apiece. Jey won at WrestleMania, Gunther won the rematch. It seems like WWE wants that rubber match in the finals of this John Cena tournament. It would break the head-to-head tie for whoever wins this matchup between Jey Uso and Gunther, but fans think Gunther will easily win this match and advance to the finals to face John Cena, which also officially closes the chapter with Jey Uso at the same time. So that appears to be everyone's biggest issues with the Last Time Is Now tournament. It was an interesting idea on paper, but when fans can predict not only the winner, but even the final matchup as well, that does seem like a big issue there. So that's why fans are looking at this tournament as a flop. The winner is predictable, the final matchup is predictable, and it doesn't seem like any younger talent will have any real presence and representation in the late rounds of the tournament. So all those things don't really sit well with fans. The only potential thing that could come out of this predictable finals matchup is some more story and character progression for Jey Uso. Although he's been pretty calm in recent weeks, we know that Jey is still fuming about his recent world title loss and his recent disagreements with his brother. Jey's headspace is still questionable, so we're to assume that more big losses will surely have an impact on his mental state. We already saw how impacted he was from his world title loss to Gunther, and then losing the vacant title match against CM Punk. So if Jey makes it that far in the John Cena tournament just to lose again to his big 2025 rival, Gunther, we got to assume that it will once again do heavy damage to his mental state. He made it to the finals for the world title tournament just to lose. And now he made it to the finals of this John Cena tournament just to lose again. So they're really stacking up these major losses for Jey Uso, and it appears that they're building this foundation for him to absolutely snap and eventually reach his breaking point from so many major losses. So it does make you wonder if Jey lost the title match to CM Punk, if Jey's team loses at War Games, and if he loses to Gunther in that tournament, how much longer can Jey Uso truly keep the smile on his face for? Nothing but major losses over the last few months, and it does make you wonder when we'll see him snap, because it does seem like that's still what they're building towards. That's what's happening right now in the Last Time Is Now tournament. but hopefully things could pick up here real soon. The Wyatt Sicks have been on the receiving end of a lot of fan questions as well. Over the last few weeks, not much was being done with the Wyatts, since it did seem like they were waiting for Uncle Howdy to return and stand by their side. He finally returned on the November 14th edition of Smackdown for a quick 2-second backstage cameo appearance. But then on the November 21st edition of Smackdown, Uncle Howdy's big return was followed up with absolutely nothing at all for the Wyatt Sicks. And this is how things have been for the Wyatt Sicks pretty much ever since they debuted. They tease something, it looks like things are finally picking up for them, but then everything immediately flatlines. We saw that earlier in the year where WWE was heavily teasing a connection and conversation between Alexa Bliss and the Wyatt Sicks. But the story was abruptly dropped and led to nothing at all. Then we've been seeing it lately, how they teased a big Wyatt Sicks versus MFT feud back in October, but it's about to be December and not much has happened there either. So it's a bit frustrating for Wyatt fans. It's frustrating for all fans because it's becoming a trend and a reoccurring thing. Something else that fans have been vocal about is the tag team titles on SmackDown. Fans think it's kind of bizarre that the Wyatts are still the tag team champions when they aren't really featured every week on SmackDown, and how other teams in the division get featured more regularly than they do. So you got fans out there that are calling for those tag team titles to be placed on another team. But hopefully after MFT goes through with the whole feud against Sami Zayn and his team, hopefully that's when we'll finally see the real feud between MFT and the Wyatts finally kick off. After 2 months of teasing that feud, it's about time that it actually starts. The feud between MFT and the Wyatts will absolutely be about the tag team titles, so we'll see if MFT can dethrone the Wyatts. 10 full years later, and we're finally getting some answers and explanation to AJ Lee's viral old tweets, in which she directly called out Stephanie McMahon for some major issues the women in WWE were facing at the time. In those posts from 2015, AJ Lee tagged Stephanie McMahon in front of the world and put her on blast for the struggles the women were facing in the company. AJ mentioned how the women had top-selling merchandise, how they were in the highest-rated segments on the show, but how they received a fraction of the wages and screen time that the men in the company received. Well, during AJ's recent interview with Stephanie McMahon, Stephanie opened up about that moment. Stephanie admitted she was not happy that AJ directed at her because there wasn't much of anything she herself could do at the time, but she was happy that someone said it and put it out there. Stephanie admitted that the women's division was not transformed because of the executives, that it was transformed due to the immense pressure from the fans at the time. AJ admitted that she figures she'll probably face backlash for those remarks back then, but how sometimes a sacrifice has to be made, and how she was okay putting herself on the line there with those comments for the greater good. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.